Hello, Canada. Hello, United States of America. And greetings to every single one of you all over the planet. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show, now running every Tuesday and every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Many of you will notice that I traded my bookshelf in for a barbecue and some palm trees and some other really cool stuff here that I haven't even turned on yet. Where has Kevin J. Johnston been? Well, we got a few stories to tell there, do we not? We have a great guest joining us. Denise Mountenay is going to be joining us to talk about abortion and how it affects women of all ages. She's written a book and discussed at length the perils of abortion at the United Nations. Her story is actually quite incredible. We've had a chance to speak before the show here. We're looking forward to having her come on just as quickly as we possibly can. So we're going to bring Ed in right now. We got to discuss something ridiculous that is going on again. Ed, apparently we have white lung syndrome taking place all over the world. Yeah. All right. This is the next big pandemic to stop the 2024 U.S. election. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's only in China and Ohio. And what can I say? They're having Sandwich Day. Remember when they were talking about the vid originally? You had all these videos coming out of China. Other than that, you would never get videos coming out of China. China has a movie industry. They have crisis actors. They do have a production, and they make their own movies in that country. So why wouldn't they release stuff that can be used to push this narrative? Cryptocurrencies, specifically the new what's it called? The Kevin, help me out here. The government funded one that they want to implement.
The central bank digital currency. They've already had that going on in China for a while.
Yeah, that's coming in.
Recognition to get into downtown Beijing and so on.
Yeah, Australia, it's coming online real soon, another couple months, and it'll be rolling out. They tried it in one country in Africa. It's all part of the narrative. It's all BS as far as I'm concerned. And okay, great. There's a whole bunch of people wearing masks in a crowded room in China, and I seen the video. It's like these people don't even look sick.
Well, I think they look mentally ill, if you want the truth. Anyone who's going to put a mask back on these days is definitely mentally ill. Anybody who thought that the original pandemic was real is absolutely mentally ill. How many of you out there decided to fight with your families over masks? Remember I told you masks were an absolute lie? Now everybody's saying it, all right? I'm the only one that went to jail for it. But we have something new, everybody. That's right. We're not asking for donations anymore at all. We want all of you to be part of the show. So we've got this happening. Check it out. A 50-50 draw. There we are. Tickets are just $10 each, and we're going to split the pot right down the middle. So somebody's walking away with 50% of whatever comes in tonight. So I'm going to put it in the chat room right now, everybody. There is the link that you can click on. I'll stick it in the Rumble room as well. Kaboom. If you guys want your 50-50 tickets, go right ahead. Click on that link. Grab yourself some tickets. We are going to be handing out cash tonight. So, yeah, I'll remind everybody about this as the evening goes on. As far as I understand, we've already got 4 people who've bought tickets. So let's get you guys in there. $10, buy as many as you want for a shot to win cash. Now, why would we be doing this, everybody? Well, we're doing this because, as you can tell behind me here, I'm not in Canada. I'm in Costa Rica. Where's Kevin J. Johnston been? I was in Mexico for a bit, everybody, and now I'm in Costa Rica. In fact, that amazing gentleman, Mark Savoy, that we've had on the show, I'm working with Mark now to help people get out of Canada. Get out of communist, crazy, insane Canada. Buy yourself a house where it's never cold. No more snow. No more Justin Trudeau. No more police knocking on your door saying, you can't send that tweet, you know. None of that nonsense. I'm seeing videos all over Canada right now of cops behaving like complete maniacs. I don't get how our policing has become nothing but bullies. They become nothing but thugs. So if you want to get away from that nonsense and come to a country where you can, get rid of a cop for $10, this is the best thing to do. That's what I'm doing now, everybody. Now, Eddie, and I had talked about this, and I wasn't going to show this video, but I did have an issue. You see, what happened the day before I was leaving the country, which, by the way, I've cleared with the courts. So that's done. All right. I'm here absolutely legally, everybody. But I had sent a letter off to, remember that guy, Mark Jackson, the lawyer for Alberta Health Services? I let him know in writing, which I'm supposed to do, according to the court's rules, that a $10 million lawsuit was coming, and I'm calling 153 witnesses against Alberta Health Services, including some former staff who were terminated permanently because they would not get the same needles that I refused to get. We got a couple of police officers, former police officers, they were fired too. And we've got a whole bunch of people who have lost family members to those very same poisons that I warned you all not to take. Well,
Kevin,
the next morning, Ed, go ahead.
have you heard about the 11,000 government employees in New Zealand that got that didn't have to take the jabs? They got exemptions.
Of course, we heard all about that. Of course, we heard all about that. They had exemptions. They knew. New Zealand, they're the worst, man. They were all told. The government staff were told there's no pandemic. Relax. You're not going to have to take needles. We'll just pretend to poke you. Everything's going to be fine for you and your families. Yeah, but then proceeded to go ahead and murder New Zealanders. And now we have a whistleblower who's been arrested, kind of like myself 3 years ago. He's been arrested and he's being hopefully given bail today. That was going to be what we're going to find out. We're actually trying to reach him. We'd like to get him on the show to talk about what's going on in New Zealand and just how bad New Zealand is. Well, like I said, everybody, I sent that letter off to the lawyer. And the very next morning, I was attacked again by Antifa. But, you know, these idiots have got to realize, you know, if you're only going to send 5, I'm going to win. All right, I'm going to win. You guys, 42 of you couldn't kill me in Ottawa. 7 of you couldn't kill me in Calgary the first time you tried. Then 7 of you tried again. Then 5, then 5. Like, you guys just don't get it. Yeah, obviously, you Antifa idiots don't know how to fight. I do. And every single time, even when you come at me with weapons, I win. Now, this one didn't go as well as it could have for me because they caught me a little bit off guard. So I'm only going to play a few seconds of what I had to endure on that day. All right. So, yeah, that's me. I got hit in the head with a brick. I didn't like it.
Hey, guys. Look, I can't even go for a morning jog anymore. All right. For those who don't know me.
Okay, so I talked for about 6 minutes in this video. All right. These guys came at me. 2 of them had sticks. One of them had a brick. And the guy that had the brick, he came at me first. And I blocked it with the back of my arm. And then he got me in the side of the head with it. He swung around because I was actually shoving the other ones off. So this became a big pushing match again. But the one guy who hit me with the brick, yeah, this time he really got on my nerves. So I'll play the video to the point where you can see my knuckle is completely cut open.
My name is KevinJJohnston.
And I'm also upset they ripped my favorite shirt, by the way.
I'm a podcaster. I've ran
political. So I'm going to skip a little bit. I'll decide whether or not to release this video to the public.
And
I think it's around here somewhere.
An incident where there were 7 members of Antifa that attacked me and my crew live on Facebook, and the police just let them go.
Okay, right there. So you'll see my knuckle it's nice and scuffed up because the guy that hit me with the brick, I pushed him aside, grabbed his hair, and I filled him. I had his head like this, and I just filled him. So it's healed now because it's been 2 weeks. But man, did I slice my knuckle right open on that? Oh God. So let's just get that off the screen. That is what I had to endure, everybody. So I just decided to lay low. If they're sending thugs at me again, and I've got to defend myself again, I figured it was just a good idea to stay silent for a couple of weeks. I'm back. I'm not going to be silent. We know that Antifa, these guys are not going to get on airplanes and come here and find me. And I did a couple of TikTok lives since I got here. And you know what Antifa says? I just got your IP address. I know where you are. Well, imagine that that's true. Well, come on down, man. This is the land of lizards and pit vipers and Fury de Lances and jaguars and cheetahs. Like, they're all here. Come on down. I'd love to see you guys endure that. Ed, you got a look on your face. Go ahead.
Nothing. Same thing. They tried to kill Jack on Dundas Street between Bay and University, 2019, June 22nd. Filed complaints.
Yeah.
Cops said it was a civil matter. Attempted murder. And like Stefanos has said many times, cops have no responsibility to protect the public.
No, they have none. We've covered this topic before, where they have absolutely no responsibility to the public of any kind. That actually started in New York. There was a guy being stabbed on the New York subway, and two cops just stood in the other car watching it happen. Didn't pull their guns, didn't even try to arrest the guy who was stabbing the victim. And it was later ruled in court that police have no responsibility to protect in any way. So I'm wondering, why are we paying them? Why really? What are we giving cops money for? It's not like they're protecting us anymore. And what they're doing is they're stopping guys like you and me from talking. That's all they're doing.
And to protect the politicians. That's their job.
Yep, that is their job.
Policy enforcement. Anyways, you know what else they're doing in New York?
What's that?
Last week they announced some kind of new regulations came through. If they suspect that you're sick or something, they can take a kid right out of the hospital, newborn, up to anyone. They can take anyone. No warrant required. No going in front of a judge. They throw you into one of concentration camps. I think they call them FEMA camps in the U.S. That's in New York City. That's on the books now.
That's actually the entire state. The governor. You see what happened is, Ed, that was Rule 2.1.3 or 2.3.1, one or the other, where it said that if you're suspected of being sick in any way, that they can put you into an internment camp or FEMA camp. Yes, it is a concentration. It's a prison, and they don't need a court order to do so. Now, that was overruled, but then the governor appealed it, and the appeal went through. So imagine you've got a governor that appeals the decision that the courts made to protect New Yorkers. Well, New Yorkers they're going to be locked up a lot more than Canadians are. Not a good time at all. All right, Ed, so we're going to move on to a couple of other quick things here, but to remind everyone, we have a 50-50 draw taking place. We're not asking for donations anymore. Tickets are just $10. There you go. It's KevinJJohnston.me. And you see the slash there, /product-page /50-50-tickets. So there you go. Guys, everyone jump over there. You can also find that just by going to the store on KevinJJohnston.me. Get your 50-50 tickets. Somebody's going to win cash tonight. All right. So 50-50 means that we split the prize money. And we're allowed to do this now because I am no longer in Canada. So that would mean that Canadian lottery laws do not apply to this show because this show is now wholly owned by a Costa Rican corporation. There we go. Amazing how far we have to go just to be able to talk on the internet and have a bit of fun on the internet. It really does drive me crazy, Ed, that we just simply cannot do what we need to do to eat. Now, I also I spoke to several different companies right now or today who specialize in 50-50 software. And unfortunately for us, we couldn't use the software because these are Canadian companies who absolutely insist that we be a Canadian not-for-profit corporation and that we apply for a 50-50 license. Do you know what that costs to do a 50-50 raffle? $2,500. $2,500. Then you got to pay the software company to use their software. So you're in the hole almost $15,000 before you even start your raffle. The government just does not want us getting ahead. They don't want us doing anything to help ourselves in any way. It is ridiculous.
It was just a year and a half. They stole $10 million in donations from Canadians, plus millions of dollars in crypto.
Yeah, it's what they do.
Yeah.
Ed, it's what they do. They steal whatever they want. All right. And a few of you, well, here's the deal, everybody. I want you all to go and follow me on Instagram. It's just my name, Kevin J. Johnston. Now that I'm no longer bound by Canadian hate speech laws, I'm saying what I want to say. So I put about 15 or so videos out on Instagram, a few of which have broken the 100,000 view mark pretty rapidly, I might add. Now, it just seems that people are absolutely thirsty, Ed, to have them to be spoken to in the fashion in which I'm doing so, which is just me telling the truth. Now, for those who are asking about Costa Rica, it's pretty wild. If you're planning on living here, expect a very severe change in your lifestyle. So this is not the kind of place where you drive into a plaza and you've got 5 restaurants and a bowling alley and a movie theater, and then a McDonald's in the middle of the parking lot somewhere and a Burger King across the road. That's not how it is. There's no grid pattern in any of the coastal cities here. The roads follow the mountainscapes. So the Costa Rica is by no means flat. So if you're okay with doing things like I'm doing right now, sitting outside, I'm doing a show outside right now with there only being at this particular time of year 11 hours 45 minutes of daylight. If you can cram a whole day in from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., you'll be fine. But it is different. Costa Rica is very different. It's not like a lot of Mexican cities that are built on the North American grid pattern. I spent a couple of days with Vladislav Slobolev in Playa del Carmen. He was showing me the whole town. The town was a perfect grid pattern, easy to get around. That is not how Costa Rican towns are built. So it's a change. It's different. You get to see cool things like turkey vultures. They clean up all the carrion here. Dogs. There's a lot of stray dogs here. I witnessed a stray dog kill an iguana for food. Pretty amazing. I've watched iguanas eat bugs and fight each other for tree space. So there's a lot of really cool things to see. And there's a lot of expatriates down here. A lot of Americans and Canadians and Brits all gave up on North America and the Commonwealth, and they're here now. So you can have a pretty good social life depending what city that you're in. So thank you, everybody, for asking me how Costa Rica is. But I haven't really been enjoying it because I've been working so hard with Mark, going out and viewing homes. We're filming everything. We're getting the 3D renderings. I'm putting together a lot of stuff because there's a lot of houses here for sale. There we go. I think it's time to bring our guest on, everybody. Unless, Ed, you've got one more thing to add, like we know you do.
Not at the moment. Let's bring her on. What's the topic tonight, Kevin?
What's the topic tonight, everybody? Well, we're going to talk about birth rates being down all over the world, and we're going to be talking about abortions being up in the world. Our special guest is Denise Mountenay. You're going to meet her in just a second. She's written a book, and she's spoken at the United Nations about the dangers of abortions and how they affect women, young and old, middle-aged, the whole bit. You know what? It's better that I just let Denise do all of the talking. Denise, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. We greatly appreciate that. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. I'm the founder of Together for Life Ministries, and I've been in this war zone for about 36 years now. I heard you talking about being sued. Well, I was sued by Dr. Henry Morgentaler for $1 million back in
Dr. Death.
the 80s. Huh?
Henry Morgentaler, Dr. Death.
Yes, Dr. Death.
Yeah.
I was bad for his business because as a former abortion patient, I was picketing his clinic in Toronto, and I was also involved in Operation Rescue, where we had dozens of people peacefully block the doors of the abortion clinic, trying to save babies. And I was doing what we called sidewalk counseling, and giving the women other options and telling them that legal abortion is not a safe procedure, and sharing the consequences of legal abortion, and that we can help them, that we want, that their baby has a beating heart and their baby is alive. And, these butchers are going to kill your baby. Now, I never said butchers back then, but knowing what I know now, it is absolutely the most depraved form of violence in our generation. It is a Holocaust. It is murder. The ripping apart of little arms and legs and fingers and toes in a mother's womb, which should be the safest place in the world for an unborn child to be. But my story is very typical for so many women in this generation. My story starts with I was raped at the age of 13. I never told anyone. My virginity was stolen. And I started drinking, doing drugs, and had my first crush at the age of 16. And at 16, we were having sex, and I got pregnant after a few months we were together. And long story short is when I ended up telling my mother that I was pregnant, because I was planning on having that first baby at the age of 16, because I figured I can do this. And I actually was in Switzerland with my aunt working in a restaurant there, and she was pregnant, and I ended up stealing baby clothes from my aunt because she was getting so many things. And I thought, oh, she won't notice this little outfit missing or that little outfit missing. And I was planning on having that baby. But when I told my mother that I was pregnant, she said, Denise, you're only 16. You have your whole life ahead of you. Just come back to Canada and you can have this operation and just forget about it and get on with your life. So I thought, oh, it's okay with my mom. It's okay with the doctor. It's okay with the government. So I thought it must be okay. And like many women, I ended up having multiple abortions because I believe the lies that it wasn't really a baby, that it was a clump of tissue, and that it was
Oh no, this the Stefano syndrome over again. We lost her. She's in Mexico right now. Everybody, not the most reliable internet there. I know. Um, okay, so we'll see if we can get her back in because we want to make sure that that whole story gets told.
That being said, I know a girl that had her first child at 15, second one at 17, and another one at 21, single mom. She finally got married when she was 50. And kids turned out pretty good, actually. And they've all been married, and they're having kids. So,
well, it's the greatest thing going, everybody, and the very. Oh wait, we got Denise back. Go ahead, Denise.
I don't know what happened.
You're in Mexico. That's what happened.
Yeah, I'm in Mexico. And anyway, so do you want me to continue?
Please, yeah, please continue.
Okay. So after that first abortion, that was in Newmarket Hospital, by the way, in Ontario. And I just tried to forget about it and get on with my life. Well, 10 years later, new boyfriend. He didn't want to wear a condom. The pill gave me bad side effects. I ended up getting pregnant again. An IUD actually landed me in a hospital with an infection. And so pregnant the second time. Now, when I told this boyfriend that I was pregnant, he went in a fit of rage. You better have an abortion. I never want to see you. Get out of my house. And I was devastated because I thought he loved me. And the second time when I went to the doctor, I asked him, we figured out I was about 8 to 9 weeks pregnant. And I said, what's there? What's developed? And he basically just took a piece of paper and he put a little dot on the page. And he said, it's nothing. It's just a clump of tissue. So that doctor lied to me. I had no idea of the truth about fetal development and until years later. And so the second time I went to New York, to a Buffalo, New York abortion clinic, because he said, just tell the secretary on the way out to make you an appointment and she'll give you all the information and it'll be done quicker there. And I went there, and Kevin, it was the most excruciating pain I had ever felt in my life. It actually felt like I was being raped again because I was wide awake during that procedure. And I felt like my insides were being ripped out of me. And it was very traumatic. I curled up into a fetal position on the table, crying. I had begged the doctor, stop it, stop it. I changed my mind. He's like, nope, nope, can't do that, can't do that. And really felt like being raped. And then I curled up into a fetal position. I felt like my brain had snapped. I couldn't talk. I went into a big depression, alcohol, drinking. I didn't care about myself. I just was really on a self-destructive course, which is very typical for so many women after a so-called safe and legal abortion. Plus, I had a bunch of complications. It was not a safe procedure. I got an infection. I got a damaged cervix. I got a badly scarred uterus, which I didn't even know all of the complications until years later. Went into a deep depression, just wanted to die. My mom was getting worried, and she had one of my girlfriends come and visit me. So we were party girls. So we went out partying. I had a one-night stand, and I got pregnant a third time. And the shame of being single and not knowing this guy's last name was enough for me to go and have a third abortion in a hospital where they would put me to sleep. And then after that final abortion, that is when I changed my life. And that is when, I started to look at the big picture of the world. Is there a God? What's the purpose of life? Why am I here? What's going on? And when I got the revelation of fetal development, that when I saw the truth that abortion was murder, that it killed my children, that they had arms and legs and fingers and toes, I was devastated. And I knew that I knew that I knew that God had called me out of darkness and into his light to be a voice for children who have no voice. And so God began to open doors, sending me all over the world. He sent me to China, India, Africa, all over Europe, Russia twice, and into the United Nations, to New York City for 14 years, every single year before COVID. And I was leading teams of women who had all had abortions. We had all had abortions. And I was organizing these seminars where I would bring in an obstetrician gynecologist, a medical researcher, and myself as the chair. And then I would have several women give impact statements, 2 or 3 minutes, on how legal abortion hurt them and killed their children, the lies they believed beforehand, and how it affected them. And many of them could never have children after their legal abortion. And I was blessed to be able to have one child born, our son, who's 31 now. And we wanted more children, and we couldn't have any more, and he was a miracle. And so ever since, I have been on the front lines in the abortion war.
I sympathize with the story, and as you and I were talking before the show here, there was a number of relationships I've had where I was dating women who had had abortions prior. Two of them had explained to me that the procedures were botched badly enough that they were unable to have vaginal orgasms afterwards. They had to just rely on clitoral orgasms. Now, when you're explaining that to a 23-year-old or 24-year-old guy, yeah, you don't get it. I understand them now, me being in my 50s. So I feel terrible for women who have had that kind of damage done to the cervix and the interior of the vaginal walls. Obviously, that is a very severely botched job. Now, the one thing I wanted to ask you here is, as men, we can't relate to these things on an emotional level. How do women deal with this on the emotional level? What is the feeling? But if you could describe it so that men could understand it, please. What is the actual feeling that goes through you when this happens?
You mean during the procedure?
Before, during, and immediately after. Yes, please.
Well, I think before there's just so much fear. It's the fear of how am I going to do this? I'm single. What does the guy think? And it's a large percentage of men who are pressuring and coercing the women to have the abortions because they want to have sex, but they do not want the responsibility that goes with it. And the women, I would say 90% or higher, always want the baby as the first normal natural instinct is you want this baby. But if the father is, you're a piece of shit and I never want to see you again, and how could I do this to them, then you're heartbroken and devastated, and the fear comes in, oh my gosh, how can I do this alone? And just the low self-esteem and the whole part of that. And after, in the aftermath, it's devastating because one day, so the first thing that happens is women will usually go into denial. We deny, we suppress the pain, we suppress everything. We try to justify it. Well, I was only 16, I was only 21, I was only whatever. He made me do it. My mother told me, whatever it is, we all have reasons why we think we should have done it. But one day when it hits you, oh my gosh, those were my children. These were my children. And it's so unnatural for women to have their babies killed, especially by so-called doctors, because we believe the doctors, we believe the professionals. And so when we are being so deceived and lied to, about the humanity of the unborn child, that, oh, it's just a clump of tissue, it's not really a person, these are lies from the pit of hell. And when you get the revelation, like when I got the revelation that abortion killed my children, Kevin, I began to grieve and wail. Now, I don't know if you've ever had anyone really close to you die, where you grieved and wailed the loss of that person. Well, that's what women do when it hits them and they realize, I should have a 5-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old or whatever, however old they would be now, and they're not here. And there's an emptiness, there's a void. An abortion can affect your sex life. It can affect your mental health. So many women, actually, there was a huge study done that was published in the British Journal of Psychiatry. They found that, let me see that, here it is. The Royal College of Psychiatrists found that women who have an abortion are 81% more likely to experience mental health problems in the aftermath. And a big study that was done in Finland found that women who have an induced abortion are not twice as much, but 6 times more likely to attempt or commit suicide afterwards, because you realize, oh my gosh, those were my children. And the guilt, remorse, and the regret is huge. And so the mental health is a huge problem. And, I remember my son, he's 31 now. And I remember him saying when he was in his early 20s, he goes, Mom, all the women I meet, they're so screwed up. And so I'm wondering, did they have abortions? Are they, because it has become a violent form of birth control in our generation. And so my whole message is to bring education and awareness to the forefront that legal abortion is not a safe procedure. Not only does it cause mental health problems, but are you sitting down? There are now not 5 or 6 studies. There are now 61 published studies in peer-reviewed medical journals linking breast cancer to induced abortion. And you can go to the BCP Institute spelled out .org website, which stands for the Breast Cancer Prevention Institute. It's in New York. And I work with Dr. Angela Lanfranchi, a breast surgeon, and she does the whole presentation. And I can explain in lay terms the link between induced abortion and breast cancer. Would you like to hear that?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sure you
Right.
have,
That's why you're here.
and men like breasts. So I think it's important you would hear this.
No, please, let's hear it. Because look, there's a lot of women out there who don't seem to comprehend how a woman's illness affects the man in their life. It really does. I've had relationships where women got sick, severe diseases. As a man, you feel helpless. You want to do something and you can't. But unfortunately, in our modern era, especially in North America, we've got so many of these feminist movements out there saying we don't need men. Men are pigs. Men are scum. Men don't have emotions. Men don't this. Like, go to hell, all the women who think that way. No, we are deeply concerned about that. And if any man finds out that his wife, significant other, has breast cancer, yes, he will feel down in the dumps. Please go ahead.
Exactly. Okay, so all the cancer societies agree that having your children under the age of 24 reduces breast cancer. They say breastfeeding reduces breast cancer. The more children you have, the more it reduces breast cancer. So when a woman has an induced abortion, especially the first pregnancy is the most important pregnancy for a woman, and I'll tell you why. Before a woman gets pregnant, there's type 1, 2, 3, and 4 lobules in the breast. Before a first pregnancy, you have type 1 and 2 lobules, which are cancer vulnerable, which are the cells for women who never have children, like nuns and most lesbians who never have children, have a higher risk of getting breast cancer because they don't have children. They don't give birth to children. Now, the second thing is when a woman gets pregnant, 2,000 times the estrogen is naturally pumped into the breast in the first trimester to become milk for the baby in a few months. And so what happens is when those cells, type 1 and 2 lobules, become type 3 and 4 lobules, they become cancer resistant. So when a woman has that first full-term pregnancy, she is really reducing her risk of ever getting breast cancer. Okay. And the problem is now we have so many women having legal induced abortions. The breast cancer rates are going up and up and up, and they don't know why this is happening because the cancer societies are denying the link, even though there's a mountain of studies. And Kevin and Ed, the first study was done in Japan in 1957, the year I was born. Don't tell anyone. But that is huge, that all these studies have been out there and they're afraid of lawsuits. I am sure they are afraid of getting lawsuits. There have been a couple of lawsuits where women had an abortion, didn't know about the breast cancer because they don't tell women. There's no informed consent when it comes to legal abortion. They just, when I went in for mine, she said, do you have any allergies, this or that, sign here, and away you go. So women are not being informed that if they choose abortion, they could be choosing breast cancer. They could be choosing mental health problems. They might want to kill themselves. They might fight depression, become an alcoholic, drug addict. And the other thing is premature birth. So there's over 100 published studies in peer-reviewed medical journals linking premature births and subsequent wanted children. So you have your 1 or 2 or 3 abortions, and now maybe you meet Prince Charming, you get married, and now you want your baby. And the studies are showing that that the premature births are outrageous now. So right now, there's 15 million children born too soon every year. 15 million. And out of those, 1 million at least will die. And other children who are born prematurely can get autism, cerebral palsy, blindness, deafness, respiratory problems, all kinds of problems in the aftermath. And that's a result from a lot of them is from legal abortion. And in 2007, the Institute of Medicine reported that a prior first trimester induced abortion is an immutable medical risk factor associated with preterm births. And many studies. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I want to
nobody knows
recap.
about this. Nobody knows about this. And that's why I co-produced this documentary called Hush. And we won a bunch of awards for it. And this documentary is all about the first hour. It's a featured documentary. The first hour is all about the breast cancer link, and the second hour is about the cervical damage causing preterm births from legal abortions, and the third is the mental health. And now I'm working on a movie. That's the big vision.
I know you're definitely a very busy gal. I'm just gonna remind everybody quickly here. We got a 50-50 draw taking place, folks. We're not asking for donations anymore. You're actually going to get a chance to win cash. So whatever we raise tonight, you get 50%. The winner takes home half. Head over to KevinJJohnston.me. Just mouse over the button for shop. Yeah, you'll see 50-50 draw is there. Go ahead and buy as many tickets as you would like. They're $10 each. You can also do email money transfers to the email address at the bottom. Both ways will get you in the hat. We've got our good friend Adrian who's going to be drawing the winner 10 minutes before the end of showtime tonight. So, Denise, I wanted to just recap what you said there. A woman gets pregnant, and you said it was 2,000 times the amount of estrogen goes into the breast area. So
Yes.
where the cancer causing
To
is
become milk.
happening, to create milk, right? But if you have an abortion in that early term, what does your body do with the estrogen in the milk that it's now creating?
Okay, so what happens is, so when you have an abortion, it artificially terminates that pregnancy, and those cells do not get to differentiate and become the milk they're intended to be, and which leaves it for more cancer vulnerable cells. And most cancer is what they call estrogen positive breast cancer. And the same with the pill, the birth control pill. Also, in 2005, the World Health Organization put out a statement stating that the birth control pill is a known carcinogen. That long-term use of the pill, now guess what long-term is? 5 years or more, is a known cancer-causing agent. And how many women have heard that?
What about those? I think they're called IUDs, where
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. I had an IUD.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. It's very painful going in, very painful going out. And I got an infection from mine, and it landed me in the hospital. So those are terrible.
Okay, and that's the device that they actually insert into the cervix, which just continues to drop in the anti-pregnancy hormone.
Well,
so it's there 24 hours a day.
Well, it was called a copper T, and so it causes some kind of reaction that's not beneficial for a baby or a new life.
All right, so then I'll go ahead and I'll make a brazen statement now. To all you young ladies out there, when you've got a guy who doesn't want to wear a condom, tell him, see you later. Put it on him. Put it on him. He doesn't like it. He can leave. The idea here is that most guys are completely full of crap. They will lie to you about, oh yeah, if I get you pregnant, I'll stick around, I'll take care of it, and so on. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Look, I'll tell the truth. It feels better without a condom on. I know, but too bad. All right, if he's not married to you, if he hasn't made a commitment to you for life, then tell him to put the damn thing on. He can cry all he wants out that. Ladies, don't take responsibility for you. They're not going to do it. They really, unless they're a classy guy, and there are some, but not many. Put it on them yourself. That's what you have to do this. Guys can't get pregnant. You can. Please take that one extra 30-second time frame there and make sure he has it on. I'm telling you the truth, gals. Don't expect men to do that for you. Twyla's asking a question here. Abortion versus miscarriage. Are miscarriages equally as damaging to a woman?
Good question. There was a study done in Australia, I forget the year right now, but they found that a natural miscarriage does not have the same effect as an induced abortion, because the abortion is on a healthy baby, but a natural miscarriage, it's like the body already knows there's something wrong, and it's a natural miscarriage. And sadly, women who have abortions also have a higher risk of having miscarriages.
I think that women that have miscarriages, they take it personally, like they've done something wrong, and I've
Guilt.
witnessed this. So they really, really suffer.
They feel
over this.
guilt. Yes.
And
I
what
had
can
one.
I say? It's God's will.
Yeah.
Not everything is up to us.
Yeah.
Right.
Carrie's made a comment here. The Mirena IUD is good. Had two over 14 years, no problems. I guess that's awesome.
Well, IUDs have evolved over the years too, eh?
They have. I did have a girlfriend when I was 25. She had one. It kind of hurts when you poke off of them because there is certainly something there. It's not like there's nothing there. There's something there, and it does. It hurts the tip when you hit it. But that's neither here nor there. Congratulations to you, Carrie, for getting one that was installed properly, and obviously it's the right formulation for yourself.
Hey,
But,
can
I know that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, now, I know you're sitting down. I don't know if you're ready to hear this part, but when I
Denise, could you here? Let's get you back in there. Sorry, that whole thing broke up. Denise, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to share that, when I became a Christian and then I started praying for a husband, because all's what I ever really wanted, like I think most women, was meet a great guy, get married, and have a family. I wanted to have children. That's all I ever really wanted was, to do this. And I became a Christian. I started praying for this guy, whoever he was, wherever he was. Anyway, we get together. So this guy's pursuing me, who becomes my husband. And I wasn't really all that attracted to him at first, but he was a handy guy, and I needed bookshelves put together. I needed stuff on my car done. And, he says, I can do that. I can, it was great. Anyway, so we became friends. And then after that first kiss, it was like, hubba, hubba, he's getting better looking every second. And we went together for 9 months. We never had no sex until we got married. So it speeded everything up because we wanted to do it God's way. So it was 9 months from when we met to when we got married. And we never used any birth control. Okay. And we got pregnant with our son right away, and then had one miscarriage, and I was never able to have any more children. So, natural family planning, by the way, is also a very good form of birth control. You're not having any foreign objects in your body. And they have a 98 to 99% success rate, according to studies, the Billings method, in case anyone's interested. And it just goes by a woman's cycle. When she's ovulating, and when that's when she's going to get pregnant, is during ovulation.
Yeah, the billing cycle was required learning when I was in high school, because I went to a Catholic high school.
Oh, wow.
And the Catholic stance, of course, was do not use condoms no matter what. Now, that is, of course, something that I disagreed with implicitly. They also used to refer to it as the rhythm method, where you take your wife would take her temperature and you guys would write down when you went up or down a degree or two. Then you knew it was either safe or not safe. Too much work to me anyway. But at the same time, I also, once I had decided to have children and get married, then it was just open season. You just go to town, do what you want. Not many men will look at things that same way that I do. So, ladies, again, I'm going to repeat: most men are complete jerks. Make sure he's wearing it, okay? Just please, for the love of everything holy, make sure that he's wearing it. To remind you all, we're doing a 50-50 draw tonight, folks. Head over to KevinJJohnston.me, grab yourself a ticket for just $10. Someone's going to take half of the prize money tonight. That's KevinJJohnston.me. Enter as often as you like. Adrian, our good friend Adrian there, is going to draw the winner 10 minutes before the end of showtime. Yes, you can do it by email money transfer to the email address at the bottom. That's freedomreport.ca at gmail.com. And thank you, Glenn, for buying 2 tickets there. We certainly do appreciate that. Okay, so let's get back to what you know here, because you wrote a book about all of this. Can we get you to talk a bit about the book that you wrote, please?
Yes. Well, my first book was called Forgiven of Murder, A True Story, and it became a national bestseller for Canada. And actually, I'm almost sold out of my new book, The Bride, the Serpent, and the Seed. And it's almost sold out, 5,000 copies as well. And so I'm probably going to be, doing a new revision, a new copy. I'm going to be working on that this winter. I finished the script.
What's inside the book? Let's talk about what you put in the book. Go ahead.
Oh, in the book? Yeah, well, it has my story, my testimony about, being raped at 13, 3 abortions, and then how God changed my life. I quit smoking, drinking, drugs, all that. I do have the odd glass of wine now, though. Don't tell anyone. And basically my work at the United Nations and just all the amazing adventures I've had all over the world. And and by the way, during COVID, I was giving letters for religious exemptions to people who were being threatened to lose their job if they didn't get the jab. So, because I am ordained, so I was able to do that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah,
And
I'm glad.
The book has all the information. Sorry. The book has all the information too about the breast cancer link, the cervical damage, the mental health, with citations of the studies and all that as well. And my website has a lot of information too.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I want to get your take on this. There's been this massive push for population reduction, and they're not even hiding the fact that that's what they want. So there are ads all over the Western world, Europe and North America, encouraging young women to get an abortion because apparently it's better for climate change to not have kids. Then there's the Extinction Rebellion group, which are human beings need to willingly commit suicide to save the planet. And then there are the dinks, the DINKSs, and they are proud of the fact that they just simply refuse to have children. They never will, and they live incredibly selfish lifestyles that they brag about online. So these are actual cliques. These are memes. These are concepts that are being shoved down everybody's throat at this particular point. Now, I don't care if you don't want to have kids, but it's the idea of utilizing abortion as birth control to the point now where young women in North America especially are bragging about the number of abortions that they've had. Now, how sick has our society become? Let's get your take on that, please.
Well, I think it's very sad, and I do believe that for our generation, that there has not been the push or the encouragement to children on how precious parenthood is, like how great it is to be a mother, like, and how wonderful it is. You don't see it in the media. You don't see it in the movies anymore. You don't see it in comedy shows. The education that they're getting in the high schools and even in the public schools is all self-indulgent. It's all about please yourself. And this comprehensive sexuality education, I've been fighting that at the United Nations for many years, maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years at least. And there's a great website called stopcse.org. Stopcse.org. That stands for Comprehensive Sexuality Education, where they're pushing all the LGBT stuff. And they're totally, there's no encouragement for people to have their children, have their babies, get married, have a family. No, but there are a few countries now that are realizing the demographic decline that's happening. Like, for example, oh, and by the way, I want you to know this. I think it was around 2012 when I was in Geneva, Switzerland. I brought an official complaint to the High Commissioner of Human Rights against China. So I brought a complaint against the one-child policy. Now there was lawyers that drew up the complaint, and we had all these cases of women in China who had forced abortions, like late term, even like 8-9 months pregnant. And if you didn't have a pregnancy permit, and I went to China too, they would just take you to the family planning clinic and murder your baby, who was fully human and fully alive, just so diabolical. And but they're now realizing, because they've been killing the girls because they're girls. Now, I don't know where all the the feminists are on this one, but killing girls because they're a girl, like there should be outrage about that one. And there's like complete silence. And so I think we embarrass them in bringing, I put together I don't have it here right handy, but I put together a flyer called It's a Girl, and it has a picture of a little fetal model like this, okay, and then a little baby girl born, and but Poland, Hungary, some of the South American countries are now are realizing the demographic dearth, and it's all the developed countries, the rich countries, who are killing their kids the most. The rich developed countries, Canada, the US, we have declining birth rates. Like, in order for a country, yeah, that's good. Your body, not your body. It's not your choice. Abortion is murder. There's another little body inside her body when she's pregnant. But the thing is that we need to bring education and awareness to the forefront that the demographic decline is happening, and it's huge, and it's affecting populations at an alarming rate. Because if you have a population of, say, let's just say this much, and the next generation it's half of that, they're having half of the kids, and then the next generation again, you have a declining demographic bomb happening. And that means it's going to affect the economy, because where are you going to get who's going to be working? Like, where's all the jobs?
Well, that's correct. That's correct. So I wanted to point out, Denise, is that in the Western world, there's a lot of abortions taking place because people are just selfish in general. Yeah. What they're looking for is the easiest, quickest way to do what they want whenever they want. They don't want to take accountability for their actions. And, nobody is talking the way that I do about how amazing it is to be a parent. The greatest thing I ever did was be a dad. I loved every minute of it. Like, guys, when your kids are toddlers, you can do no wrong in their eyes. The way that they look at you, it's a miracle. Whenever I'd come home, my son would come running to their door, Daddy, and just jump up, and it's like a dog, where that unfettered happiness, and the happiness to be there for an hour or two, and then when they got a little bit calmed down, now that you're home, it's real easy to ramp them right back up. Let's play forts. Let's crack eggs on each other's heads, whatever it might be, just to have a good time with them. I had a blast. Being a parent is incredible. And I cannot believe that people don't want to do it, because I'm at the point now, both my kids are in their 20s. So I can just pick up the phone and actually have an adult conversation with them now, still referencing how much fun we had when they were kids. It's an incredible thing. In fact, it's so incredible, everybody, and the left wing is already on my case about this, Denise, but this is what I want to do. All right. Who's ready for this one? I want to have 100 more kids. There you go. Kevin J. Johnston wants 100 white children. Sign up to be a mom today. So the way that it works, ladies, I'm completely unvaxxed. My sperm is killer, and it's time to start repopulating the planet. And look, white people represent less than 9% of the world's population.
Wow.
I can select who I want to have sex with and who I want to mate with. And if I want to have white kids, damn it, I'm going to do that. And I don't care what the left wing says. If they want to call me racist because I have a preference, well, that's on them. I don't have to live with them. I don't have to sleep with them. I don't have to be around them or even talk to them. But I would absolutely love the idea of having 100 more white kids because I'm white. And that's what I want. I'm sure if I was black, I'd want to have 100 black kids. It's just how it is. Ed, you got a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, wasn't it Muhammad Ali back in the early 70s that said, hummingbirds would go with hummingbirds, blue jays go with blue jays, or something like that. So it's not really racist, especially if it's coming from a black guy, right? In
No,
group preference.
of course it's not. Right.
But the left, I'm sure, has got something else to say about that. Probably something to do with colonialism or some other freaking nonsense that they've been brainwashed into. Denise, I got to ask you, do we here in Canada have something like, what's that company that sells the baby parts in the States? Planned Parenthood?
Yeah, they've changed the name here in Canada. I forget what they call it now, and I sure wouldn't want to advertise for them anyway. But yeah, the Morgentaler clinics, he had franchises right across Canada. And I couldn't believe they even gave him the Order of Canada for murdering. Well, in Canada, we kill about 100,000 babies a year, just in Canada. And so, in order for a country to maintain a culture, you need 2.15 children per woman of fertility just to maintain a culture. Canada's birth rate has been like 1.5 for many years now. Italy, I think, is 1.2. I mean, if you go all over Europe, they have they're like, 1.5 is way below replacement level. So
South Korea's got the same problem. They're at 1.4.
Who?
Yeah. South Korea.
Yeah.
They're at 1.4. Japan is
close.
less than 2. I don't have the exact number, but they're less than 2 right now. There's a lot of countries around the world that just do not have replacement value for the current workforce. And it's not even that modern kids want to work anyway. So really, what are we doing here? That is why, for any ladies out there that want to carry these genes, I'm serious. I want to have 100 more. That would be absolutely phenomenal to add 100 more Kevins to the future workforce. I mean, come on. That's a good-looking guy right here. Let's make some good-looking babies together. All right. Rules, gals. What happened? There we go. Got to be human, female, attractive, obviously, and consenting. I mean, those count. Yeah. What's up,
Kevin? Check your settings and reduce your. You're probably at 720p. Knock that back down to 240 because you're cutting in and out. You may have bandwidth issues.
I'm in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica. The internet here is not that great.
Yeah, so drop down your camera resolution. Maybe it'll improve the sound quality. Some of your words are getting cut out. But back to Planned Parenthood, they're making money off of aborted kids and fetuses, right?
Oh
Does
yeah,
that happen in Canada?
yes, they're selling parts. Yeah, it's big business. It's big business. They make millions of dollars. It's diabolical that so-called doctors would be murdering children before birth. I met a woman, a Canadian woman. She
Okay, Denise, I'm not sure what happened there. Hold on. Yeah, it's bad. Like she's in Mexico, I'm in Costa Rica, so, and in general, it's just a nuisance to talk. Sorry about that, folks. Really are. Go
okay.
ahead, Denise. Try that again.
Yeah, I had met a woman. She had sent me an email that she had had an abortion. She wrote me like detail, minute by minute, almost like what happened to her. She was 7.5 months pregnant, healthy woman, healthy baby. And she got afraid of, oh my gosh, she was single. What am I going to? She had made a vow to herself. She never wanted to have kids. Anyway, the BC, she was from Vancouver. The the province of BC paid $12,500 for her to have that baby exterminated. And she had to go to Boulder, Colorado. Dr. Hearn, he has a website. He specializes in killing late-term babies. And this baby could have survived, healthy woman, healthy baby. This child could have survived easily outside the womb. He injected the baby's heart with potassium chloride. And then she had to go into labor the next day, and it was horrible. And yeah, so it is horrible what's going on, and that we're even paying for it as taxpayers. We're paying for the shedding of innocent blood. Shame on Canada. Shame on the medical system. Shame on our governments for allowing this. It is so disgusting. And I don't blame God one bit for the judgments that are coming because of it. Because it's a shedding of innocent blood. It's so evil.
Well, we've allowed our society to advertise this type of violence against children as a good thing. Then what we did is we gave the radical left all the microphones on the planet to go ahead and spew their hate-filled rhetoric. There was
Yeah.
there was a trans guy. There's no such thing. So just a guy dressed up as a chick. It's just a loser in a dress. But what he
Yeah.
did is he walked into a bar. This was about 2 years ago. Walked into a bar. He had set up a fake womb on a white shirt, took a knife and cut it, and pulled a plastic baby doll out just to state that babies were expendable. And he was applauded, just absolutely applauded by the entire left wing and the entire LGBTQ. They loved him, it, whatever, for what it decided to do. Now, that's, of course, freedom of expression in the United States. It's allowed by law. Doesn't change the fact that the guy dressed up as a chick is vile and gross, and that message is absolutely vile and gross.
It is.
Which is something that everyone, I guess I'm going to come full circle on this now. We need to repopulate our countries, people. Canada, United States, England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Germany, France, Spain, Italy. The birth rates are down. And what's happened here is we brought a whole bunch of thugs from Africa and the Middle East into these countries who are raping our women now and not contributing to our societies in any way. Don't think for a second that the planet is overpopulated. It is not overpopulated. It is not possible for human beings to overpopulate. I've told you all this before. Earth can sustain 1 trillion human beings. And every single human being alive, to give you an idea of just how insignificant we really are, we can all fit inside of Los Angeles. Every human being alive today. It's not 8 billion like the media keeps telling you. It's closer to 6 billion. There's been a lot of war. There's been a lot of murder. There's been lower birth rates. And there's been countries like India and China grossly overstating their populations. China is about 10 years away from crashing, guys. They just don't have the population to maintain this bogus economy that they have. So
let me ask you this, Kevin. What's going to
Go
happen
ahead,
in the
Ed.
Ukraine? What's going to happen in the Ukraine when you lose 1 million men? And then you're
Yeah,
bringing
I
in.
guess guys like me are going to have to go over there and fertilize, maybe.
plus
you have
we
a-
also have an aging, dying population, right?
Yep.
Now, did you ever see any of this kind of rhetoric spoken about, or these plans in the UN itself? Did you ever come up against that while you were working at the UN?
Which plans?
These
Oh,
agendas
their
to lower
plan, I know
population.
what their plans are. I
Let us
mean,
have it.
Okay, so you
going
spoke at
to
the UN. What are their plans? Let's hear this.
Oh, well, I mean, I've been going to it's called the Commission on the Status of Women. Commission on the Status of Women. Their whole agenda, they're all in bed with Planned Parenthood. What I call Planned Parenthood is Planned Parenthood, and all these organizations that are all into depopulating the earth. And so they're pushing euthanasia, they're pushing comprehensive sexuality, they're pushing the LGBT and transgender agenda because they want to, and they're doing it in the schools, in our schools. I remember my son, we were up in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. He said, Mom, he came home, he was in grade 8. Mom, you're not going to like what happened in school today. I said, what happened? And he said they had 2 homosexuals and they came in under anti-bullying, but it had nothing to do with bullying. It was all about promoting that sexual behavior to young kids, that this is a great, wonderful thing. And they gave them phone numbers and, just unbelievable. So the Stop CSE it's pornographic, what they're pushing on the kids. And at the United Nations, they are pushing the depopulation through all the countries. They're using money, they're bribing, they're trying to put all this language into the documents. So every time when they have these big conferences, they always come up with resolutions, and they have their own language there at the UN. And basically, their whole agenda is pushing abortions and euthanasia and the LGBT agenda. That's all they're doing. But hallelujah, there's countries like some of those African countries, man, they are taking a stand, and they're like, no, this is wrong, and they're taking a stand against them. So that's why there's such a difference here, because you have a lot of Christians in Africa and South and Central America who are taking a stand against this agenda from the UN. And but now Mexico, just in September, actually decriminalized abortion. So I'm here now in Mexico, and I'm going to be working hard now and getting my stuff translated into Spanish. And I want to meet with the politicians in South and Central America to bring the message I have that legal abortion is harmful and it kills children. It's the greatest human rights crime against humanity in our generation, and it has to stop. And because you had mentioned transgenderism, I don't know if you're aware of this. Dr. Paul McHugh, have you heard of him? He was
I have. Yes, go on.
chief of psychiatry in Johns Hopkins Hospital. And he basically said that transgenderism is a mental disorder that merits treatment. He states that total sex change is biologically impossible, and that people who promote sexual reassignment surgery are collaborating with and promoting a mental disorder. And he said it's similar to anorexia, where a person, say a woman, in her mind, she thinks she's fat, but in reality, she's like a toothpick and she doesn't eat hardly anything. And she looks like a bone rack, but in her mind, she is fat. So it's like in their mind, they think they're another gender, and it's sad. And they found that new studies showed that the suicide rate among transgender people who had reassignment surgery is 20 times higher than the suicide rate among non-transgender people.
Okay,
Because-
now the whole thing about this transgender bit is that it is also, it's not just a mental illness, it's also a trend. It's kind of like
Yeah.
anorexia was a trend for a while. So
Yeah.
whenever a couple of famous celebrities like Kate Moss came out and admitted they were bulimic, then you had millions of women decided to be copycats and they became bulimic. Well, then
Wow.
we found out that bulimia was really bad for you. So it went away as a pandemic, they call it. It's not a pandemic. It's just a bunch of people who are lonely, looking for some way to fit in. So they copy what celebrities are doing. Well, now transgenderism is the same thing. 10 years from now, it's not going to be a thing. Right now it is. 10 years from now, it's not going to be. It's just mass hysteria brought on by Hollywood and the radical leftist agenda. And leftists should all be in prison for what they are doing. But I want to just quickly cover here birth rates by country, everybody. The top 10 countries with the highest birth rate:
Africa.
Niger, Angola, Benin,
Chad.
Mali, Uganda, Chad, Dominican Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, big surprise, South Sudan, and Mozambique. Now, Somalia, South Sudan, and Uganda, these are countries that have absolutely nothing going on for them. They have very little functioning governments. So a lot of the births are taking place due to rape and sexual assaults and whatnot, which is unfortunate. But the top 10 countries are all African. We're not having babies in the West, everybody, and we have to.
Denise, you got any advice for women that have had abortions in the past? Anything to help them heal?
Yes. To me, I mean, the thing that really helped me was, first of all, was you got to admit that it was wrong, that it was the biggest mistake we ever made. So when I confessed and I asked God to forgive me for having my children aborted, and I grieved and cried and, I mean, I was a mess. But to actually ask God to forgive you, and then the hardest part is forgiving yourself, to forgive yourself for doing it. And then, the healing, it takes time. And then I think another important thing is to overcome evil with good. And either, I mean, not everybody's going to go public and tell everybody like I did, but they can be writing letters. They can be, sharing their testimonies, privately to people, or writing a book or whatever, like going to church, talking to a pastor, talking to other women. And I'm open if anyone wants to contact me at my website. If they've had an abortion. Most women have never even told anyone that they've had an abortion. But I don't care what people think of me. I care what God thinks. That's the most important thing. Abortion was the greatest mistakes of my life that I ever made. And so now I'm trying to save other women and children from making the same mistakes I did. And so that is what is important now, because abortion is murder. It's the shedding of innocent blood, and it hurts women and kills children. And so the healing, I think, is only through Jesus Christ, because he died and paid the price for our sins. That's it. Very simple, but it works. And it's helped a lot of women.
So they're spewing a whole bunch of lies. Our kids are being lied to about abortions, safety.
Yeah.
People that want to get involved, any advice for them? How do we get these lies, or get the entire truth told in the schools?
Yes. Well, I think, okay, now listen, Roe v. Wade was overturned. Hallelujah. That is fantastic. However, there is still a war. Now the states are, I think there's like 9 states right now who are trying to get it legalized or whatever. So there's still a war. So we have to change hearts and minds. And that's why my movie is so important. I finished the script for my movie last winter when I was here in Mexico. And I'm working on a movie right now, and I have one big partner, and then so right now I've raised quite a chunk of money for this movie. It's going to happen. And I went to a big conference where I met filmmakers, producers, directors, distributors. And so I'm so excited because I feel this is the only way, and I'm standing on Revelation 12:11, that we defeat Satan by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so it's the testimonies that's going to change hearts and minds. You know, like, try and argue with me. I've been there, done that. I know what I'm talking about. And so to get the real story, a dramatic film of what really is happening, to expose the lies that women are told and the deception, and then also, you know, the heart of it, like that these were our children. And so I feel that that's how we're going to change hearts and minds, is by getting the testimonies out there. And that's how they overturned Roe v. Wade, was they're friends of mine. I've been working with them for years. It's Operation Outcry, and Alan Parker, who's an attorney in the States, and he's been collecting testimony. He's got thousands of testimonies from women like me who've been hurt by legal abortion, physically, psychologically, in many different ways, and are sharing their testimonies, and that they were presenting their stories to senators. And that's, I believe, how Roe v. Wade was overturned.
So my issue,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. My issue is what we've been taught in schools, even myself, safe and effective.
Yeah, it's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. So how do we get the curriculum reversed or changed, or when's your movie going to be out? Maybe we should be pushing to get these movies into the school.
Yes, I need support. Because I think, you know, because the Unplanned movie, did you ever see that? Did you hear about it?
I heard about it. I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Unplanned. That came out, I think, in 2017.
Is it on BitChute yet, or somewhere else so people can watch it for free, possibly, or is it still copyrighted? Good old Mexican internet, eh, Kevin?
Yeah, tell me about it. It's Mexican internet is a nuisance. Like, I know, I was working on Mexican internet there with Vlad when I saw him in Playa del Carmen, and I'll tell you, Mexican internet at the airport was horrendous. But as soon as I got to Costa Rica, the main airport there in San Jose, the internet was fantastic. So there's Wi-Fi in every restaurant, every bar, every gym. Everybody here has Wi-Fi. It's good. It's not great, but it's good. Mexico is junk for internet. Even in Cancun. I think Denise is still frozen there. Yeah. All right, everyone. We've got so far. All right. So we got 10 people so far that have bought tickets for the 50-50 draw tonight. We got 10 of them in there. We got to get you guys to grab some tickets. Head over to KevinJJohnston.me, mouse over the shop button, and buy yourself a 50-50 draw ticket. Someone's going to take half tonight's take. There we go. Real simple. And it looks like we have another one here. So that is 11. John just bought a second ticket. Thanks, John, for doing that. All right. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday and every Thursday. The Kevin J. Johnston show is going to be every Tuesday and Thursday now. Plus Wednesday is going to be the real estate show for an hour. All the shows are at 9 p.m. Eastern time. All right. We're monopolizing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday now. So feel free to join us, everybody, and have ourselves a good time. Denise, sorry, please continue.
Unplanned.
I was just wondering if you guys had heard of or seen the Unplanned movie. It's a true story about Abby Johnson, who used to work for Planned Parenthood. And long story short, it's her testimony. And basically, she had to fill in for somebody and do the ultrasound while the abortionist was killing the baby. And she saw what was going on in the ultrasound, and she saw the baby with the arms and legs and everything being ripped off, and she took off and she couldn't stand it and became pro-life. Now they had a unplanned, had a $6.5 million budget, and they grossed over $21.3 million. So there's a market for this kind of film now. And then the Sound of Freedom. Oh, my battery's dying. The Sound of Freedom had a $14.5 million budget. They've grossed over $238 million already. So people are wanting to see true stories, and we're tired of fiction. Let's get the truth out there. You know, that's even way more exciting and way more adventurous than all this fiction. So yeah, I need help.
Here's the good news is that Disney is dying very rapidly. Universal Pictures, they're dying. These new Marvel movies, no one's even showing up at the theater anymore. So yeah, we're all tired of fiction and garbage. We do want to know what's really going on in the world. And I was invited out to see Sound of Freedom. It was on a soccer field here in Costa Rica. They had an inflatable screen and a small projector, and there's like 60 of us, paid $5 to watch the movie. The movie was absolutely remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. I mean, depressing as hell, but remarkable.
I just want you to know my battery is dying on my laptop here.
How do people get your book before you go?
Just go to my website. Together, I don't think we can see it on there right now, but it's togetherforlife.net. There we go. Thank you.
Togetherforlife.net.
Yeah. And anyone can get a hold of me through there. My email and everything is on there.
So any ladies who have had an abortion or a miscarriage or anything as such, they can give you a call and speak with you about how to better deal with it. Is that what you're offering?
Sure. Yeah.
It's very kind of you. Ed, go ahead.
So when your movie's going to be released, or just before, we got to get you on again.
Yes.
And let's promote the heck out of this movie, and then let's get it into the schools.
Yes, that would be awesome. It'll probably be PG-13.
Well, okay, so if it's PG-13, that means what? Kids in grade 5 can watch it, or what?
13 and up.
Grade 8.
Yeah, I think grade 8. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you know what? I would say, just we can buy bulk jump drives and just give it to them. They need to see these things. There's a lot of things that kids in grade 7, 8, 9, 10, they need to know.
Yes.
And no one's telling them the truth. Nobody is, except me. And every time I tell the truth, I get arrested, which is why I'm in Costa Rica now. I've had enough of Canadian hate speech laws. I really have had enough. Yeah. Denise, I want to say thank you very much for being here. Your story is remarkable, and thanks for being brave enough to tell it. We do appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for being brave and courageous too.
Well, that's my pleasure. I've enjoyed a lot of it. I've had a chance to meet a lot of really great people, such as yourself. So thanks again for being here. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Denise, have a great night. Take care. All right, so we were competing there with Mexican internet, but that's okay. All right, folks, please reach out to her. Jump on her website, grab a copy of her book, and let her know what you think of the book afterwards. It's always great to get feedback when you write a book. I mean, I remember when I put out Masks Are Bullshit, that book, it was great to get people's feedback. I mean, some people didn't like the language within it, but many did. Ed, what's that? What do you got on the screen there?
These were a few slides that we didn't have a chance to get up yet, but Denise sent them through, and I don't know, I thought I'd pop them up.
Yeah, it's like 1.2 million per year. What stat was that? What year is that from? Go back to the previous one. Yeah, so 1.2 million per year, 3,700 a day, 56 million since 1973. That's got to be an American stat, because it does make sense that 1.2 million women in the United States would be getting abortions.
Yeah, this is kind of nasty, eh? And then what's
Well,
this slide all about?
that one I think needs clarification. But look, what it boils down to, ladies, is it's not good for you. Okay, it's just not good for you. There's a lot of things that are not good for a woman's body. The pill is another one, and I'll speak now like a man. In my 20s, it was great to have girlfriends that were on the pill, but I've spoken to a number of my ex-girlfriends who are now in their 50s, and their health is not good. They've deteriorated somewhat. I mean, I'm sure some of it's because of life choice, but when they're on the pill 5, 10, 15 years at a time, it does affect you. It affects you in every way, including emotionally. So find a way just to not be on that stuff. Make your man wear a rubber. That's simple. Ed, go ahead.
Well, I was talking to girls in their 30s that they had to go off the pill because they were at high risk for stroke and having medical issues already in their 30s. So they hadn't even been on it for more than 10 years. Stroke's pretty serious, especially in your 30s,
It's incredibly serious stuff, and you're damaging yourself in your early 20s when you ladies are doing this. And I have given this speech to many young women under the age of 30, explained to them it's not healthy for you. There's other ways to make a man happy without him filling you up as an irresponsible idiot. There really are. Like, men are pretty easy to please that way. So find other ways to deal with it. And Twyla makes a good point. There's also blood clots you can get from it, and that is true. There's also cases of anemia that have come from it. So women end up on iron supplements for the rest of their lives after they come off the pill. It's just not a good scene. Not at all.
Yeah, funny how they don't tell you that when you're signing up for it,
They don't tell you any of this stuff.
Yeah.
They just in high school, they talked about condoms were the way to prevent disease. Well, that's kind of true, but they're more a way to prevent pregnancy. At the same time, in religion class, they would say, don't use them. It's a sin because every time you have sex, it's supposed to create a life. But that's not biblical. That's Catholic. And Catholic is only one denomination of Christianity. I know I'm Catholic. I heard this crap forever. And I kept telling my religion teacher, like, there's no way I'm going to comply with that. Are you out of your mind? You want me to be a virgin till what? I'm 50? Forget it. No, I'll put a condom on. I'll be fine. Thank you.
Kevin, as a society, why are we even having this show? What does that say about us?
Well, it says that we are a society in complete and total decline. That's what it says.
But how did this happen, though?
We gave the wrong people the microphone and we listened to them. And then we wrote laws to protect the dumbest of the dumb, the rudest of the rude, and the most vile of the vile. We found the most incorrect people and let them do all the talking. And then we backed them up. And then guys like me who come out and speak out against this stuff, what happens? We get arrested for it. That's what we did. So we need to dismantle the courts. The Canadian court systems have to go. They're not there for the people. They are there for themselves. We have to start defunding police departments because they're not doing anything. They're not protecting us from thieves and rapists and murderers. They're putting us in prison for having shows like this. So why are we paying them? Next, we have to get everybody who's currently working in the education centers out because the left wing runs the show in education, the courts, the police, the administrative bodies out there. We screwed up as a society. We let the wrongest of the wrong do the talking, and now we've let them be near our kids. And that is criminal unto itself.
I know of a lot of good teachers, so let's not be too hard on the teachers. They don't have a choice in the matter. They gotta teach.
No. I am going to hit the teachers hard. I went through the Ontario education system. So you factor this in. Junior kindergarten, you have 2 teachers. Senior kindergarten, you have 2 teachers. Grade 1 through 8, you got 1. But because we did semester style in grade 7 and 8, we had access to like 8 teachers during that time. That's a lot of teachers before I was even in high school. And with the exception of 1, they all sucked. They all brought their personal problems to school. They couldn't differentiate between their home problems, which weren't really problems, and what they were doing. Mark Ferruccio was my grade 8 teacher. He was a pedophile. He had his hands all over every single girl, and he would punish all the guys that spoke out again. No, There were no good teachers. It was not worth my time. Then I got to high school, one good teacher. The rest can all kiss my ass. They were useless people. I got to college where I was paying for education. Again, one good teacher. The rest were just there for the money. Now, you can spare me the notion that there's good teachers out there. There are not good teachers out there. If there were, they would be phoning me and telling me what's going on in the school boards, but they're not. They're all cowards. They're protecting their six-figure salaries. Not interested in anyone who works in the education system anymore.
Personally, I'm a little bit older than you are. Almost all my teachers, with the exception of one grade 10 math teacher, were excellent. I can honestly say that. And the education I got was completely different than what the kids are getting these days.
Yeah, that's the 60s, though, Ed. All right, we're not talking 2023.
No, we're talking 70s and early 80s. And then when I went back in 98 and 99 for 2 years because I had an accident, I had to get retrained. The teachers, again, were excellent, intentional. They prepared you for the job. They did a really good job. And I challenged my teachers second time around. I was, 34, 35 years old. Picked up a whole bunch of academic awards. I was teaching other kids stuff that I was learning. And the teachers were still intentional. But what I did find is first year back in college after, 13 years away from it, the kids that were coming into machine shop, the math that we were doing, machine shop, was what I was learning in grade 7. So this is a product of liberalization, can't fail, pass the kids on. And they figure, well, if the kid doesn't want to learn, or if he's not the brightest, they'll put him into one of the trades. Those kids were struggling big time. But I was shocked at how far the standards had fallen. And I don't blame the teachers. I blame the school boards. I blame the Minister of Education. And because it's top down. When did this policy, if you can't fail a kid, come in? Where'd that come from? That put the less onus on the teachers because it's, really, they didn't have to teach to a standard anymore. You know what I mean? And that's why we had kids with a lot less education smarts. When I went to school, it was tough, man. You had to work at it. So,
you did. But that's not the case anymore at all. However, I'm just going to say this, that the education system that I went through was garbage. The education I received as a kid was garbage. I couldn't wait to leave. To me, it was like going to prison because there was no enrichment. There really wasn't. It was all a matter of you do what we say or we're going to call your parents and your parents will beat the shit out of you, which is pretty much the way that it worked back in the 70s and the 80s. It was just, what's the word there? The weak were in charge of our future and they failed us immensely. That's why I couldn't wait to just get out of school and start living life. All right. So everyone, we've got just a few minutes left here. We're going to draw a winner in 7 minutes. Get your 50-50 tickets right now. Go to KevinJJohnston.me and grab a ticket. Enter as often as you would like. Our good friend Adrian is about to do the draw for us. So we're down to 6 minutes now. Get your 50-50 tickets. Someone is taking cash home tonight. All right. Cash. That's right. We're going to do an email money transfer to whoever the winner is. KevinJJohnston.me. Mouse over the shop button. Hit the 50-50 draw, buy yourself a ticket, or you can use the email address at the bottom there, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Someone's winning cash tonight. All right. Birth rates. All right. The reason that we want to have this show tonight is because we want to tell the truth about birth rates. They're down everywhere except for Africa and a couple of Middle Eastern countries. Some Middle Eastern countries like Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan, they're all down. Like, just birth rates are down absolutely everywhere. So when I'm saying that I want to have more kids, it ain't a joke. That's not me being facetious or otherwise. For me to say I'd like to make 100 white kids, that's what I'd like to do. I'd love to make 100 white kids to help get the population back up. We truly do need to have our own people in our own countries. Now, I'm not just talking about white skin. I'm saying that if you are born in Canada and you're Japanese descent and you want to have kids with a Japanese woman, that's fine. Go ahead, because Japan's birth rates, they're down immensely as well. So why not have kids? It's the most rewarding thing that you could possibly do. I loved raising kids. I'd like to have a whole ton more. And yeah, the left wing's angry with me because I specifically say I want white kids. Too bad for them. Who cares? Right? You left wingers out there, nobody cares about your opinions. You're losing. Populism is returning. Nationalism is starting to come back. Not in Canada, not for a very long time to come, but in Europe, it's coming back. You're losing because you suck. Your ideas are stupid, and your whining and your crying gets you nothing at all. Ed, go ahead.
Have you heard of any policies coming out of Hungary? Like if you have one kid, you get a free minivan. You have 4 kids, your house mortgage is paid for. Is there any truth to these rumors?
There's countries in Eastern Europe. I don't know exactly what the prize money is, but I do know that, for example, in Russia, if you have 7 kids, you get to have dinner with Putin. You get some of your mortgage covered when you have your 4th or 5th kid in Russia. Now, a lot of Eastern European countries have these perks for having children if you stay there and have kids, but I don't know what all the perks are. But that is something to consider. We got to start having perks for having kids, because Canada, it's going to be less than 50% white in the next 10 years, which means that all we're doing to rebuild our population is just mass immigration. And it's failed. Mass immigration sucks. It's destroyed our culture and our economy. It's definitely destroyed our medical system. Canada is like number 38 in the world right now for medical care. Our hospitals suck in every province. Our doctors are leaving. Our nurses are not getting the backing that they need. The equipment that we have is 20 years out of date. The Brazilians are laughing at us because their equipment's so modern and ours is just garbage. It's horrible.
Let's not forget that there's nurses that are still out of work because of COVID.
Yes, but they're hiring nurses from other countries. Check this out. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Hold on, Ed. I'm making a point. In Calgary, Southern Calgary, all the medical clinics in areas like Auburn Bay, Cranston, and Seaton, Mahogany, and Mackenzie Town, it's called. That entire area, they're poised to be 15-minute cities. All the doctors are from Africa now in every clinic. All of them. What does that tell you?
So what are the Africans
deliberately throwing? Go ahead.
What happens when Africans need doctors? They're coming here now.
I have no idea. I haven't been to Africa to tell you that, or to answer that question. There you are. 3 minutes to go, everybody. If you get your 50-50 tickets, head over to KevinJJohnston.me. Grab yourself a ticket. We're going to draw the prize winner in exactly 90 seconds. All right, we're going to bring our good friend Adrian in. Adrian, introduce yourself,
Hello.
please.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm Kevin's old-time friend, and I've known Ed for a while too. And right now we have a whole bunch of tickets, as you can see in the raffle bin.
We got to do it manually because we can't find software to do this for us.
Yeah.
And Adrian, everybody, is one of the journalists that I was in Myanmar with. So, all the dead bodies that we had to both look at affected both of us for quite some time. It was a real pleasure to have Adrian running the video camera while I did all the talking in Myanmar. And now that I'm no longer in Canada, the court order that they put against me, preventing me from releasing that footage, is no longer in play. So, Adrian, I think we're going to have to start divulging all that footage soon. Good to see you again, by the way.
Absolutely.
Nice
Good to see
bookshelf.
you too.
Yeah, but is that my bookshelf?
Well, I think it has a few of your classics on it.
So,
all right,
Adrian,
pal.
We'll do the draw, and then I want to get an update on what's going on in Myanmar, if you can.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to do? When do you want to do the draw? Is it closed now? Or?
Let's do. Okay, guys. Well, we said 10 minutes before. Let's give people 30 more seconds here. You got 30. Yeah. Anybody who wants a 50-50 ticket, you got 30 seconds to grab your ticket, because as soon as the clock ticks over to 10:50 p.m. Eastern time, he's going to do the draw. There we go. Tick, 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 tick. And time's up, everyone. Sorry,
All
you
right.
lose. Adrian,
Here's the draw.
shuffle around. Get your hand in there. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And let's see who won. Who won the
Okay.
prize money tonight?
Here we go, folks. I have the ticket. The winning ticket is right here, and it is John Barassa.
Barassa. Congratulations, John. John, I need you to email me, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Let me know where you would like that money emailed to, and we'll get that over to you within about half an hour or so after the show is done. And John's in the room. He's saying woohoo. Thanks for playing, everyone. So John's going to get some cash tonight. How many tickets are in that bucket?
There was 11 in there, actually.
11.
John bought the last ticket, too.
All right. So John's going to get half of $110. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And we're going to do the same thing again on Thursday, everybody. So the Kevin J. Johnston Show is on Tuesdays now and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Plus tomorrow being Wednesday, we've got Mark Savoya on. We are going to be doing a real estate show. We want to help people in Ontario, Quebec, and BC get to Alberta if they want to stay in Canada, or Canadians to get to Costa Rica if they would like to get out of Canada. So what's the most
from New York
update? What?
You gotta get people from New York, man. There's Joe.
Oh yeah, if you're in New York State, get out. Get out. Yeah, let's get you to Costa Rica here, where it's safe. Adrian, what's going on in Myanmar these days? Go ahead.
Well, since you were last there, Kevin, political situation has turned to the worst. Our worst fears were realized when they actually went into a state of pretty much complete civil war. And the government forces are now fighting with the tribal forces, which have been, and especially the Gen Z, the younger generations that have been indoctrinated online with communism. The neo-Marxist cultural revolution you see here is being played out there with the same Soros groups, except over there they have guns, weapons, and they're killing innocent people like Buddhist monks.
So how did George Soros get into Myanmar?
That happened around the time of Barack Obama went over there for a visit, and they were opening up to the West. And with that came all of the George Soros money and all of the same things you're seeing here now in Canada and North America and in the West. They slowly infiltrated with money, and part of the freedom was to allow George Soros groups and the Rainbow Mafia and all these other people in. And slowly but surely they were turning against the establishment. Where there wasn't a need to turn against the establishment. It was actually the first revolution there was peaceful. And the second revolution now, similar to Ukraine, when they started pulling out the guns and without any diplomacy. That is what I found really offensive, was the fact that these violent protests started forming, shortly after me and Kevin were there, and backed by the Soros groups, et cetera, et cetera. And there was no diplomacy. There was a military coup to establish law and order, but there was no diplomacy. And when you miss that step of diplomacy, that's when people start killing each other. Now it's massive terror attacks. So the country is closed for visitors, and anybody that does go get into the country is seen as a threat to these terrorists, these neo-Marxist terrorists, and you're a target. So this situation is not going to change until the hearts and minds of people change towards peace. And the saddest thing is, I believe it's a brother war, and it's people killing people that would ordinarily be friends and allies and just get along. And now it's the point where they're just killing Buddhist monks in violent terror attacks. It is a very sad situation. Had it gone peaceful like the original revolution went, you would probably see a country now that's healed and is on the way to healing.
Shocking. Kevin, you were there.
Make a quick point here. Sorry, John, the prize winner tonight, you've won $55. That is now in your email box. Congratulations again. Yeah, Ed, go ahead with your question.
So, a couple things. If it happened in Myanmar, what's to stop it from happening in Canada?
Exactly. Time is the only thing that's stopping it now. You know, they're slowly but surely gaining power over us. They're slowly but surely eroding our freedoms, and you can see the same thing happening here too. And again, you're seeing it also play out in different areas, like Ukraine, right? It was the same kind of situation, and these skirmishes are breaking out on the borders of Russia and China to destabilize these major superpowers. So there is a grand political scheme here for world domination.
Well, I'll tell you this, everybody. We've gone tribal. All right. Human beings, we're going back to tribalism. This is ridiculous in that we tried to force multiculturalism on the Western world. It didn't work. You need to make sure that your country is your culture and that the vast majority of people in that country look the same, because they will behave the same and they'll have pride. This whole thing about multiculturalism just upset every race, every creed, every culture, to the point where now everybody wants to be away from everybody, and we're going to tribalism. So what's happening in Myanmar, everyone, which is the Burmese side, that's the eastern side of it, and the Rakhine side, they're at odds with each other, right? They're fighting each other again. Here in Canada, the left versus the right, but it's also white versus black. It's red versus white. It's oh my, everyone is fighting everybody now.
Yes.
Why? Because everybody drunk the Kool-Aid. That's why. Everyone chose to behave in the manner in which CBC and CNN and CTV told you to. And that is the problem. So we're all going back to tribes. We want to be part of tribes and whatnot. And I guess very few people are looking at things logically. And that is, it's a mess. Canada's going to go down the exact same road that Myanmar is going down, and southern Philippines with radical Islam running the show, and with Thailand with radical Islam running the southern part of the country again. We're going to have the same things here. You're already seeing it in Mississauga, Brampton, and Western Toronto. The Islamic gangs are fighting with the Sikh gangs. The Hindus and the Khalistanis are fighting each other. You got gangs all over the place, firing fireworks at each other, throwing gasoline at each other, beating each other up, stabbing each other, and so on. All right, and white folks are sort of stuck in the middle of this whole thing. They don't know what to do. So as Twyla's saying here, the best thing to do right now is jump ship. I've been told by a lot of people, stay and fight. But how and why? How and why? If you're going to stay and fight, let's say for Mississauga or Brampton or otherwise, the cops are going to arrest you if you talk like I do. So not only are you up against these gangs trying to kill you, you're up against the cops incarcerating you for criticizing the gangs that the cops are too afraid to go and arrest. Think about how crazy that is. So it's dumb, and I don't want to be a part of it anymore. I'm happy that right now I'm in Costa Rica. I've got a taste of freedom right here, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, isn't it something when you step off?
Stop talking. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just want to say, isn't it quite something when you step off the plane into a so-called third world developing country and you feel free? You know, you're free to say what you want, to be yourself. Whereas in Canada, we're completely restricted
on everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, especially if you're white in Canada, you can't say anything against anyone. Section 319 of the Criminal Code will be used against you. You will be arrested. You'll go in the system, which means they're going to make money. You're going to sit in jail until you get a bail hearing, which means they make money. You know, the police, the jailers, the jail administrators, the judges, the courts, the crown attorneys, they all make money by locking us up for no reason, and we're paying them for this service. Stop paying them. We got to stop paying for these things. Mm-hmm. Period.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth
there. We go. Adrian, thanks for being here, brother. Good to see you.
You're welcome. You too, Kevin. It's been a pleasure.
And I guess you'll be here doing the draw on Thursday as well, right?
Yes, I will.
We'll see you then. Thanks, pal.
Yeah, take care.
That's Adrian, everybody that I went to the war zone with in Myanmar. Great to see him back. Ed, 30 seconds. Concluding statement. Go ahead.
I don't believe this dog. She's pouting and whining, and then she comes in. I go get her, untangle her cable, runs into the house, steals her toy, runs out.
I'm sorry.
I
What does
love
that have to do
dogs.
with what we're talking about tonight?
Nothing. But Bub's
Okay.
usually on the show, right?
All right.
Next
Very
week-
good.
Next week, maybe I'll buy her a lottery ticket.
Maybe you should. Maybe you
Have a
should.
good
So,
night.
there you go. Thanks, Ed. All right, everybody. That's it for tonight. I appreciate all your patience with me having to be gone for 2 weeks there. I had no choice but to be gone. Ed, of course, was the powerhouse that ran the show in my absence. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere except right here. I'm outdoors. I'm doing a show outdoors now. It's probably about 73 degrees, and I'm absolutely loving it. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, that's December the 6th, we're doing the it's great, man. We got Mark coming back. We're doing a real estate show. We're going to help you all out and figuring out what the best thing in the world to do is for you and for your family. And Thursday night will be the Kevin J. Johnson show. So it'll be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays now. It's going to be really good to be back on the air that many days per week. I'd love to do 5, but I can't. I got to work down here. This is not me, having a free ride. This is not a vacation. This is me making a difference for a lot of people who need a difference made in their lives. So I want to thank you all for being here, everybody. Our guest was amazing. Denise was great. We're definitely going to have her back because we do want to talk further about young ladies, especially being lied to about abortion being the solution to their problems. It's not. There's other solutions out there that are far better than that. Thank you all for being here. My name is Kevin J. Johnson. This is the Kevin J. Johnson Show. That's every Tuesday and Thursday now, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on freedomreport.ca. We'll see you soon. I love you all, and good night.